Aloha and welcome to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We broadcast live in the Think Tech studios in the Pioneer Plaza in downtown Honolulu every Thursday at 2 o'clock. So from 2 to 2:30 is our time, and we're glad that you can make it today. This show is about positive stories in Hawaii, people and companies that have been successful. We've heard all the negativity about doing business in Hawaii, and we want to show the audience and everybody else who wants to watch that there are successes in Hawaii, that people can make it, and we are a good state to do business. Today, we have Kyle Okamura, who's from Redmont Pacific, that's going to be joining us, and he's got a very interesting background and history, and I want to welcome Kyle as a guest today.
Hi, Reg. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's great. Now, I've known you for a number of years,
Yes.
and we worked together in a couple different places. But before we go into that, can you just explain a little bit about your background? Are you a local guy? Did you grow up here?
Yes, definitely. Local boy. Graduated from Pearl City High School many moons ago, what feels like. Went to University of Hawaii. Graduated from what was then the College of Business. It wasn't Scheidler back then.
Right.
And got my degree in business management, and entered into the workforce.
Very good. Yes, I remember those days. I guess, how long ago was it that the college changed its name to Scheidler? About 10
that's something
years,
like
maybe?
that. Something
Yeah,
like that.
it
That
was a
shows you how
while.
long I've been out of college. So.
But the acronym used to be the COB.
COB?
Used to go over to the Cobb.
Oh.
College of Business. Yeah, so no, that's good. And then when you left college, what did you do first?
I worked at a company called Pacific Health Research Institute. It's a medical research firm, and I was there for a couple of years before moving on to doing accounting at BAE Systems, right here in downtown Honolulu. And from there, I went to the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, so you've got an accounting background too.
A slight accounting background. I wouldn't call it an accounting background, but I have a slight, I've done some accounting, yes.
All right, so we shouldn't get into the FASB discussion
No,
or
I don't
anything,
think the audience would like that.
Okay,
So.
all right, but you did have a really good career over at the Chamber.
Yes, yeah. I was the event coordinator there for about 8 years.
Wow.
And I had a great time over there. You learn so much about business. You learn so much about different companies, how to do business in Hawaii, the obstacles that they face, and kind of like what you talk about, all the success stories from such great business people in Hawaii.
And there's a lot, and I would imagine you must have a very extensive network.
I know some people.
I
I've
would
met a lot of
imagine.
people. I've met a lot of great people, a lot of great mentors, a lot of great people who were able to teach me things about doing business here.
So during this 8-year period at the Chamber, what kind of events were you getting involved in and coordinating?
Wow, I did a lot of events with the Chamber. We had, when I left in 2014, we had on the upwards of maybe 80 events on the calendar.
Wow.
So I had my hand in all of them on some level.
That's almost 2 a week.
It felt like that. It felt like that. You kind of, you learn to appreciate your downtime after going through that many events. But we did a bunch of networking events, a lot of mixers, a lot of opportunities to bring business people together, a lot of educational classes. We did things called the Focus On, which I know you're very familiar with, opportunities for small businesses to learn about different topics that they need to do business in Hawaii. Again, educational seminars and a lot of other kind of great things.
Well, and the annual luncheon too. I mean, that was huge.
That was a big event. It's coming up again in July, but that's usually about 800 to 1,000 people. Usually at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. Great event, but a lot of work to put on.
Oh yeah, I would imagine. Well, there's an expo piece of it, and then there's the luncheon piece, and then there's a speaker piece. I mean, it's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to keep in the air. So yeah.
So I would imagine that this would make you a highly qualified project manager of sorts to be able to handle the complexity of these things.
It's given me a lot of great experience, and that's how I ended up at my job at Redmont. I don't have, Redmont it's a real estate firm, but I don't have a real estate background. I know very little about real estate. But the owner, Philip Hache, said, well, you do so much at the Chamber with events. I need someone who can keep a lot of balls in the air, who can keep track of a lot of different things. Why don't you come on over and work for me? So he and I talked, and I made the move on over about a year and a half ago. But yeah.
And what do you do over at Redmont?
Oh, a lot of different things. Like I said, we're a real estate development firm. I specialize in the property management division. So I help to manage close to 700,000 to 1 million square feet of
Wow.
industrial property in Hawaii. On top of that, I've helped take on the administrative functions at our company. So I do a lot of the HR, some of the accounting, some of the finance.
We're back to accounting
Back to
again.
accounting, back to accounting. I never seem to escape it. But we do, so again, I handle a lot of just the back end kind of things. So our experts, our subject matter experts can go out and do what they do best.
Very good. And are you involved in the business development piece of it at all, or?
Not as much of the business development piece. My job, again, is mostly the property management and, again,
Well, the reason why I ask is with your network and how extensive you know people in town, it just would seem unnatural that you could be a matchmaker of sorts.
It would, and I've tried to help, create some of those matches, some of those opportunities. But sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right fit for a good company. So.
Well, and I guess if you're really working and handling all the property management and the accounting and HR, I mean, those are pretty diverse areas.
They're very diverse areas. It keeps me very busy. So.
Yes, well, good for you. What do you do in your downtime?
Working at the chamber for such a long time and doing so many events, now that when I have downtime, I enjoy just kind of going home and relaxing a little bit. So when I have that opportunity, I take it, but I'm still kept pretty busy at Redmont.
I would imagine. I guess working at the chamber really required you to do a lot of overtime.
A lot of overtime, but it was so worth it. Again, it's great to meet so many people in the business community, to have a chance to talk to entrepreneurs and business leaders about what's happening in our state.
Yeah. Any insight that you picked up talking to these business leaders? I mean, I guess they would have a lot to share.
Oh, they've had a lot to share. Nothing specific, I guess, but.
I guess there are always current things that are going on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of discussion. There's, in this town is relatively small, and a lot of different people in town. They've all got their fingers into different things, and they can give you some, a backstory on what's going on and what's happening currently and that sort of thing. And that's part of what I find so interesting and valuable, with my involvement at the chamber, is to, not only meet the people and get to know them, but also hear about their perspective on what's going on in the community and the business, because they all have different, points of view, I guess.
And kind of like you said, they all play. They're so intertwined, especially in Hawaii. So what happens in one industry affects something else completely different in another industry. And sometimes it's kind of nice to be able to step back and see how everything plays together and how all these pieces interact.
Right, and I think that's valuable when you go to Redmont and you start working with different people and managing the different properties. I mean, there's tenants out there, right?
We have tenants. We do I do mostly commercial in my side. But again, it's being able to talk to the clients and being able to see about all different kind of facets of their business, and being able to not only step in as a property manager and say, hey, this is what's going on with your facility, but also talk about how it's going to impact other areas. This is going to impact your accounting. This is going to impact your finance. This is going to impact, this could be an HR issue over here.
No, it's good to have that well-rounded experience to be able to really get out and engage with the tenants and the business that you're in. I can't help but think that the management team over at Redmont must really appreciate you being there with all of the skills that you have.
I think so. I guess so.
As a matter of fact, I'll talk to them. Maybe you should get a raise.
Please do. Please do.
All right. Where do you see Redmont going? Are they going to continue to grow? Is it a growth company? Or?
Oh, absolutely. It was a small company when we started out. It was myself and my boss for maybe about the first 6 months when I was there. We've brought on several new employees since then. We've added on different divisions into our company, which has created a lot more work, but it's a lot more growth for us, and it's a lot of fun kind of getting into the different aspects of real estate. And we're bringing in additional staff. We have our new guy coming down starting in a couple of weeks, another architect of ours. So we see a lot of room for growth down here.
Very good. Is the growth predominantly in Hawaii?
It's all in Hawaii. The growth is completely in Hawaii. So.
On Oahu, or are you going to go Dave Island, or?
Mostly on Oahu right now.
Very good. Well, there's always opportunity.
There's a lot of opportunity, especially in real estate in Hawaii.
Yeah, and I see a lot of the construction. I know there's a lot of labor shortage too. It makes it tough to get things done, I guess, sometimes. But But you're not into the property development so much, are you? Or
Not as much of the property development, really more the property management side, and that's
Right.
how everything in Redmont is kind of tied together.
okay, very good. But you still need to have the access to the contractors to come in and fix things and provide the maintenance and that sort of thing, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's kind of invaluable to what Redmont does, because we have existing relationships with contractors and plumbers and lighting and electrical and all that kind of all that industry. We're able to make a call, and I can help fix certain electrical problems that a client is having, more so than the average property manager who doesn't work with contractors too regularly.
That's right. Have you noticed any tightening in that market as far as availability of the contractors?
They're really tough to get a hold of sometimes. They're really tough to get a hold of, which is great for those companies, not so great for my tenants. So.
And that's one of the challenges, I think, in Hawaii, and that's kind of what's driving some of the price increases, is because there is so much construction going on, and it's a great industry, and people are busy, and it makes it hard to find the talent to come in to do the work.
It really does. It really does, and we're fortunate to have some great subcontractors that work for us, or that we do business with. So I can fortunately call them up. I had an AC leaking this morning, so I was a little afraid I couldn't make it. But I had an AC leaking at one of my properties, and I had to call up one of my vendors and say, "Hey, I really need someone here right now, because we have water leaking into the building right now."
Oh, wow.
So he was able to come on out, and it was great.
Well, it's good to have that kind of access, and I'm very happy that you made it today. Otherwise, it would have been a very lonely session. So, thank you. But yeah, it's good to have that kind of network out there, and it sounds like you've taken the network that you had at the chamber and you're really kind of expanding on it and developing almost a different, new type of network now.
It's a very different network. I worked a lot with business professionals at the chamber, and now I'm working with a lot of blue collar, more laborers. They're a very different sort of industry. It's a very different kind of way of viewing things. So it's really helped kind of teach me certain things in the process.
Gives you a different perspective.
It gives me a completely different perspective, and I always joke, it's at the chamber I was dealing with more office staff, so I could get a hold of anyone pretty much at any time. I could
They're
call
always
up.
near a phone.
They're always near a phone. Nowadays, I'm only hearing back from my contractors, before the start of the day or at the very end of the day. Throughout the rest of the day, I just don't hear from them at all.
Well, they're doing this thing called work.
They're busy. They're busy. I don't want to bother, my roofer when he's on top of a roof. So if he doesn't call me back, I understand.
Yeah, no, I think that's prudent.
Yeah.
If you're on top of a roof somewhere, don't be playing with your cell phone.
Exactly.
No, that's good. So it's nice. It sounds like you're really rounding out your experience, your connections, your network in the community. I think this is really nice to see this develop and work out together. We're going to have to go on a very short break, probably about a minute. But this is Reg Baker, Business in Hawaii. We're talking with Kyle Okamura from the Redmont Pacific Group. We'll be right back in about 60 seconds.
Hello, I'm Marianne Sasaki. Welcome to Think Tech Hawaii, where some of the most interesting conversations in Honolulu go on. I have a show on Wednesdays from 1 to 2 called Life in the Law, where we discuss legal issues, politics, governmental topics, and a whole host of issues. I hope you'll join me.
Aloha! My name is Danelia, D-A-N-E-L-I-A.
And I'm the other half of the duo, John Newman. Aloha.
We are the co-hosts of Keys to Success, which is live on the Think Tech live streaming network series, weeklies on Thursdays at 11 a.m.
Aloha, my name is Richard Emery, host of Condo Insider. More than a third of Hawaii's population live in some form of association, and our show is all about educating board members and owners about their responsibilities and obligations and providing solutions for a great association. You can watch me live on Thursdays, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. each week. Aloha.
Aloha, and welcome back to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. I'm here with Kyle Okamura. We're talking about Redmont Pacific, a great property management company that Kyle is very involved in. But we're going to shift gears a little bit right now, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Chamber of Commerce, where he was at for 8 years and really left his mark over there. And we're going to find out how he did that in just a second. But Kyle, 8 years, Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
You must know a lot about that chamber.
I do know a lot about that chamber. It's a smaller staff, but we did a lot of great work over there. We had our advocacy department who would be at the legislature, every session, fighting for businesses, fighting for, a better work environment for our state.
Well, and that's where that logo comes from, isn't it? You know, the voice of business.
Yes, exactly. So we did a lot of work there. We had our military affairs department. The military is such an integral part of our state. We have, unlike I think every other state, we have every branch represented, every military branch in Hawaii. So it's very important that the state plays well with them and that we understand what their issues are, and they're huge customers for all of our businesses in Hawaii. So it's a great relationship to have with them. And then again, just working with other businesses to help them grow their business.
Right. And now they have a Military's Affairs Council?
Yes. They get together, I'm not quite sure how often, but again, they talk about issues that the military is having with respect to how, again, everyone in the business community interacts with the military.
I've always found it interesting, and I've been with the Chamber a long time. I think I started almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
And been involved in a lot of different capacities, but got to watch the Chamber spin off a lot of different groups that are out there now. Like, for example, retail merchants.
Mm-hmm.
Retail merchants was a big part of the Chamber for a while, and they ended up going out on their own, and then the Military Affairs Council did that. Blood Bank of Hawaii did
Mm-hmm.
that. The Chamber has really been involved in this community for over 100 years, isn't it?
160 something years it's been around.
160 years, yeah, that's before my time. But yeah, they've been very active. They've done a
Yes.
lot of different things. And for the last 8 years, you were there and you were participating in a lot of this. But you started something over there. I think you kicked it off. And why don't you share that with us?
Sure. About 5 years ago, we launched the Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals Program.
Right.
It's a group specific towards business people ages 21 through 39. And it was an opportunity for them to engage in both the chamber and the business community. We have a lot of young business leaders who are kind of either afraid to get involved or don't know how to get involved, or you have young business people who are trying to get involved, trying to figure out how do I take the next step, need some mentorship, need some guidance. And we said, well, the chamber, we have such great business leaders in our state, great business leaders that work with the chamber, let's leverage that. So we started working with some of the business leaders, and we created a mentorship program. We do professional development classes. We do kind of lunches with them. We call them Exec Connects, where we bring in an executive and the young professionals can sit around a table for lunch and just talk story.
Right, and sometimes there's several executives there, different tables, and you can sign up for a different table and meet this person and find out not only about them, but also about the company.
Exactly. It's just a great opportunity to get words of wisdom from someone who's been there, done that, who knows what they're doing, has more business experience than we do, and just to be able to sit and kind of learn from them.
Right, and I participated in these a couple times, and I from my experience, generally these executives are pretty open. They're willing to share and talk and give advice, and I think generally it's pretty well received.
Yeah, the executives that have participated have been very, very very willing to help, very open to sharing their ideas and their wisdom, and I think almost every executive in our state understands the need to develop young professionals.
Of course.
You can't just continue just to exist and do the same thing over and over and over. You need to be able to impart some of that wisdom onto the next generation who's going to be in 10, 15 years the business leaders of our state.
Absolutely, they're going to have to take it over and keep it going.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're going to be retiring, and you need to have those pension funds, funded, it's prudent to have a strong team behind you to take care of things when you move on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out how to do that with my firm right now. But it's you've got a couple hundred members now?
I think last count we had about 200 young professionals who are pretty actively involved
And that's from 5 years ago, starting from zero and building it up to 200. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we've had some great leaders, some great traction, and it seems like the business community is behind this program.
Now, in addition to the Exec Connect and some of the other networking, mixers and that sort of thing, the YP group has their own structure that they manage and put these things on themselves. This isn't something that's dictated from the chamber. They kind of drive this on their own.
We said that, at the chamber, we have such a limited staff and we have so many people that want to engage. Pretty much everything is volunteer-based. There's an executive director on the chamber staff, Bianca, who is the YP director, but everything else is purely volunteer. So the YPs themselves help to find the executives for these exec connects and the classes. They're expected to put on their own events. So one of the things that we've heard from young professionals is that they don't want to go to a mixer with the regular chamber because they're a little afraid of networking. They don't know how to network. So we started putting on our own little networking pieces. So it gives them an opportunity to kind of practice, practice your elevator pitch, practice, introducing yourself. How do you handle yourself in a networking situation? So they feel more comfortable when they move into the chamber.
That's great training. And you've got, the YPs have their own president, they have their own committee structure with different chairs of the different committees. And so for somebody who wanted to get involved in the YP organization, there's opportunity not only for the external networking and connecting, but also internally to get, build your skill set up a little bit and how to manage groups of people and be in charge of committees and do this sort of thing. So it's great training.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's kind of what we wanted to do. In the initial thought process was, let's give them an opportunity to take a project and run with it. Especially younger people in their career, they get direction from their boss, they'll do whatever their boss tells them, but they don't know, they may not necessarily have the opportunity to take a project and say, I want to start this, I think this is a good idea, let me take this and run with it. Their company structure may not allow them to do that. So the YPs is a good opportunity to come in and say, hey, I think we should do a golf tournament or maybe a golf clinic. Let's try and put it on. And we'll tell them, great. We'll talk about it amongst the committee and we'll say, great, go and do it. And we'll give them kind of the liberty to go and plan it and just to put it on themselves.
It's great training. It's good experience. And a lot of these YPs end up going on to other things too. I mean, they've got other opportunity out there. I know that there's a lot of nonprofit organizations out there that they can get involved in and offer the same type of support and get that experience.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think you've been involved in some nonprofit organizations too over the years.
I have. I've been involved in several nonprofits. Through the YP program, actually, I started helping the Arthritis Foundation several years ago. And then I started helping Junior Achievement of Hawaii, and I just most recently was helping Hospice Hawaii with their race that was a few months ago.
Well, that's a plateful now.
Yeah.
So, and are you still doing that?
Some of the things I'm still doing. Some of it, I have gotten some other things, especially with my new job. I've gotten a little tied down, so I've had to step away from a few items as well.
Well, and I was going to say, you probably were needing a little bit of a break after doing the events director for 8 years. Yeah, a little bit of a break is in order.
It's a much needed break.
But full disclosure, I'm the state chairman of Junior Achievement in Hawaii, and I know that you were a vital component in the annual dinner that we do every year. I mean, in a lot of ways, you were the coordinator of that and kind of orchestrated it.
I definitely helped. I was definitely there to help, you and then the director at the time, Kim Canepa, try to put that on.
Yeah, and Kim was also a product of the chamber.
Kim was definitely a product of the chamber. I worked with her for a couple of years when she just first came out of college.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's when I first started getting involved and took over the chair of the Small Business Entrepreneur Committee over there. You and Kim were the ones that I were working with at the time.
Yes.
To help, put some of the programs together. So yeah, so the chamber actually has produced quite a number of very talented people and did give them some good training.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. So anything you would have done differently?
At the chamber?
Anywhere.
Anywhere? Oh, I mean, there's so many things.
Now, I know you probably wanted to stay in the accounting field a little bit longer, and, but other than that, what would you have done differently?
What would I have done differently? Wow, there's so many things that I could think of. One of the things I definitely would have done differently is even before working at the chamber, I would have done more networking. As a young person, I didn't really understand how important it was. When I first started at the chamber, as the event person, I ran the event. I didn't necessarily network with as many people as I should have.
So missed opportunity then.
A little bit of a missed opportunity. A lot of people knew who I was because they either saw me handling the registration table or they would contact me for the events. But at the event, there's so many things going on. I didn't network as much as I wanted to.
Well, and that's a double-edged sword, because that's one of the reasons why the event was so successful was because you were focused on making it happen and not networking.
True.
But I can understand what you mean. I mean, networking is powerful if you do it right.
It is.
Yeah, and one of the things that I have found is sometimes it's just hard to, I guess, let your guard down a little bit and just go out and start introducing yourself to people. It's uncomfortable at first, but I think what you find out, and I think this is true at YP as well as the regular chamber, is that once you start going around and talking to people, you'll find that they're very receptive because they're wishing somebody would talk to them.
And I think that's the great thing about the chamber and the YPs and other groups that are built for networking. People are there to network. It's not necessarily a social event. People understand, there's an inherent understanding that you're going to walk up to somebody and introduce yourself and pass out a business card, and even if you don't know them. And I think there's kind of an understanding and kind of okay, I understand what you're here for. So.
Well, and that's something that I guess if there was one bit of advice that I would offer is that for people that are going out and trying to meet other people and do that networking, don't be overly shy. I mean, be polite. Don't get in people's faces, but they're wishing. If you see somebody standing there and they're kind of off by themselves, they're probably wishing that someone would come talk to them. So they'll be happy to talk with you. And I know when that happens to me, I'm always thankful that someone's coming over and spend some time with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've got about less than a minute left. Do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to share with the YP group or anybody in your age group out there?
I think for me, and what I've learned, especially now at my job at the Redmont, is not knowing, saying that you don't know something is fine. It's what you do afterwards that kind of defines who you are. It's great that if my boss has asked me to do a bunch of things that I have no idea how to do, but Google is your best friend. You can go on, you can learn about it, and kind of just go.
Well, that's great. And I think that attitude and everything that you've done through your career up to this point has actually led you to get this award for the 40 under 40 that the Pacific Business News honors. And I know we don't have time to go into it. I wish we had. That may be the topic of another show, but you were one of the 40 young professionals that got nominated and awarded for being very successful here in Hawaii.
Yes.
That's great. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right. This is Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We were here with Kyle Okamura, and we were talking about his background, his experience at not only his current company of Redmont Pacific, but also at the Chamber of Commerce and some of the other nonprofits that he's worked with. So it's great to hear the energy and the enthusiasm and hear about his success. We broadcast every Thursday at 2 o'clock, 2 to 2:30. Please join us next week, Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. Aloha.